So when I say code, don't be scared off. What I'm talking about is some very tiny, simple HTML strings that you can add in to all website builders online that will get some desired effects and some really interesting ways that you can create some designs. And I want to show you exactly it. Today I'm going to be using Beaver Builder, but this will work in Divi, Elementor, any of the online building software, even ones like MailChimp, other ones like that. So if we get into the editor, what I want to show you today is break, or what's kind of considered a line break, and that allows you to put something on a new line. I want to introduce you to span and then a style on that span. So you can choose particular words and then apply different styles to that. And then also the idea of anchors. That allows you to inject links within the same page, either on the page you're on or a different page. It lets people jump around. These are all super useful. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So first, break. Let's say we have this line here, and I wish that we had this one-time word on its own line. I want that to be separate from the rest of it. Now I could add additional header items for sure, but you'll find sometimes that maybe that's not the exact right idea. You don't like how it looks when it breaks off to mobile. Any other way? Let me show you a quick way to solve that. So I click into it, and over here, again, if you're using a different editor, this is the same process. You just have to enter it into the input. So I have the heading, and if I want this one time to be on its own line, let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit. There we go. So if I want one time to be on a different line, I'm going to do a left bracket like that. I'm going to put the letters BR and then a right bracket, break. And immediately you see it. The system recognizes as code and it respects it. It does what I just asked it to do. It puts it onto a new line. Now if I remove that last bracket, it's just going to put it in as normal text, and that's not what we want. So we want one time on its own line. So I'm going to find where I want it to be on the next line. Again, left bracket, BR for break, line break. That helps you remind it. And again, if you can't quite remember it, the secret of most developers is Google is constantly open. Just Google line break, how to get something on the next line, and you'll find it. So, but again, left bracket, BR, right bracket. And tell you what, let's do that twice. So at the end of it, I again want it to be on the next line. So left bracket, BR, right bracket. There we go. So get away for a new line, one time, new line again, fee. Excellent. So one tiny thing, that'll work anywhere inside of the system where you want it to be on a new line. I think even in these buttons, looking inside here, get this. Let's say for some reason you want that to be on two lines. Get this, BR, right? There it is, 2 lines. So if you ever wonder how you can force it to be on 2 lines, adding a line break, BR, is one great way to do that. Next, let's say we want to take this the word latest product, and have it as a different color and bold. Now again, we could add it so there's multiple header elements that we style differently and try to like arrange it. You could put it as a text box, and then have the text box work with the styling in there, turn it into an H1, apply it. Different ways to handle it. One way I like to do this, and again, you'll find opportunities to use it, is what I want to introduce is a span. So a span in coding is much like this BR. It's a set of brackets that you put around a particular element, but it keeps it in line with everything else. So it doesn't shove it outside. It doesn't make it into something new. It just wraps something you have. Let me hop into a code editor. Now you don't need a code editor to do this. You can do it right in, but I just want to make it a bit clearer to see. Now you can, if you want to be working with all this in a bit of a cleaner environment, a bit more room, you can put it into something like a Notepad or TextEdit if you're on a Mac and you want to just edit it inside there instead. Totally fine. But what I want to show you is span. So I want to take this latest product, right? And again, that just came from here. So don't be daunted by the code editor. You don't need to be here. This is just for my demonstration. And I want it to be red. I want it to be the color red. I want it to stand out and bold. So what we're going to do first is we're going to add a span around it. So little left bracket, span, and close it. Now it's very important that for any elements like this, now BRs, line breaks, you don't need to have a closing bracket or to close it off. You really need to think about with these spans and other things we'll be doing, it's very much like I opened it, I need to close it. And then anything here we can kind of control. So important thing to remember with that. So I open the span, left bracket, word span, latest product, that's what I want to have a different color and style. Then right, then slash right here, so bracket, and then slash, and that's telling it, okay, I want you to close it here, and then span. Great. Now if we take this, nothing's going to happen yet, but I'll just show that. Let's go ahead and paste that in here, and you'll see it accepts it, nothing changes. Great, we haven't broken anything, right? Let's click back into here. Now this span, this is the second piece of this, and again, this might seem daunting, but you can copy and paste this somewhere, have it ready to go, refer back to it, and once you've done it a few times, it's very simple, and you start to think about interesting ways that you could apply this. We're going to apply some styles into this. So to do so, I want this to be red, and I want this to be bolded. The way that works in HTML and CSS, so the code that we're talking about, is you take this span, this is now a span element. To this span element, I want to apply some styles. So I go style equals, and then a quotation mark. Now you notice that in my coding program here, it closed it for me, but let me just get rid of that to show you. There we go. One started, one ended. So inside of the span, I press space, and now I put in style tag. Great. Now how do we apply, what type of styles do we want? Again, don't be daunted by not remembering all the codes for this, as in like all the type of styles that you can apply. Open up Google, search for it. You'd be looking for CSS. So you'd say CSS color, CSS font weight, CSS font size, and it'll tell you exactly what to put in. You don't need to memorize this. So we'll do style, and let's go with color. And you can just do something like red if you like, but as you've been working with the website, as you've been adding background colors and text color, you probably have one ready to go. So what I'd suggest you do is take whatever color you did have. Let's grab this kind of nice blue, be it your brand color, be it the colors that you're using on the page. And let's use that. So use the hashtag color. So we type in what we want to change. I want to change the color. I'm going to do a colon, and then I'm going to put in the hashtag of the color. Oops. Now I've made a mistake. In order for this hashtag work, or this hex code, you do need a number sign there. Number sign that. And that'll be. Now if I want to add an additional style, I'll tell you what, let's grab this and let's put it in, make sure it works, and see how that looks. So I'm going to copy it. I am going to, if I get the right window, there we are. Let us paste it in. And there we have it. Look at that. So get our latest product in a whole different color. And for now, I'm going to get rid of the break too, because I find that's a little bit distracting. So great. Get our latest product for a one-time fee. And how interesting and cool it is to have that as a different color, like called like one particular set of words inside of your text called out, bolded like that. Excellent. So let's go. Another thing we want to do is let's make it bold. So let's go back to our code editor. Again, you can do it totally here. I'm just doing this so we can read it better. I want to make it bold. When I want to add a second one, all I'm going to do is add a semicolon. That tells the system, hey, I'm going to add something else. And now I'm going to add font that weight bold. And so we just also do a semicolon to kind of clean that up. Now the breaks are back in. Let me get rid of that. Here we go. So we had a span. We put the span around the words latest product. We made sure to close the span. Inside of the span, I added a space and added the word style. Oops, style equals, and then quotation marks. Inside that, I had color, and then I put in the number. This little square here is just from my code editor. That's not something you'll see when you type it into yours. And then I put a colon because I wanted to add, or semicolon because I wanted to add a new one. And then I typed in font weight. And then I put colon bold because I want it to be bold. Now, with this, you now have access to anything that CSS can do. So if you type in how to make it italic with CSS, how to add extra spacing with CSS, any of those you can now apply it inside of that style tag. So let's see here if we wanted to have an overline, a line through, or here we go. Here's an interesting one, an underline. Let's go ahead and add an underline to it. So I did a Google search for CSS underline, and I get this property. I'll go ahead and copy that, and let's add that in here after the bold. Text decoration underline. Great. Let's add it in and see what it ends up looking like. The real takeaway here that you want to have is you are able, with a span and then a style, you're able to add any amount of CSS that you want to inside of any input from your website builder, which gives you a lot of interesting ways to call out various pieces on your website and add some real refined designs, which is exciting. And again, even if you just want to have something on 2-line, you can add a line break. Otherwise, you can add a style and a span and target specific words or items inside of an input and have it look really great like that. Lastly, what I want to show you is the idea of an anchor tag. So let's say that get this offer today, but for this I don't have another page. The offer is actually lower on the same site, but I don't want them to have to scroll the way down. If they're ready to commit, click it. I want them to be shoved down automatically. So let's go down to this way here. Let's say that this is the offer. So get this offer. When they click it, I want to force them down. You can imagine this too being, here's a list of questions I answer, much like an FAQ. And then below the list of questions are all the various tags for it. And when they click on the button, they get thrown down to that part of it. Very useful for quickly going around the page. So that's called an anchor tag. I'm going to show you how to inject that into any website builder you're using. So the place where the row that you're editing, where you want them to go to, we need to add a anchor to it. So you'll go into your row settings. Generally this will work on any of the elements on the page, but if you kind of take the section, I find that works best. So again, if you want to add the anchor to the image itself, totally acceptable. In this case, let's go here. So we'll go to the row settings. And now this is the Beaver Builder specific one. It works very similar in Elementor and Divi. But to this section, I need to add the ID that I want to send it to. So in this case here, for Beaver Builder, if I want to add an ID, like a CSS ID, here I can add whatever words I want to send it to. So put in something that works for you, that makes sense. In my case, I'm going to put the offer. So the ID here is the offer. Okay, I'll copy that so I don't misspell it and hit save. This section now has an ID of the offer. I'm going to scroll up here. Let's go back to this button. And now we're going to add it so that this, when clicked, this sends them to that section. So in general, this is a link. Where do we want to send them to? Under the link, all I'm going to do is the same thing, the same hashtag, or number sign, hashtag, the offer. So this is the same ID that I just added to that section. And I go ahead and hit save. I'm going to go ahead and publish it so we can see how it looks. Publish, I'm going to give it a quick refresh, just a small trick I like to do when working on these sites. Okay, now I hover over top of here, and you can't necessarily see it because my face is blocking it, but it says the exact same URL where I am, and hashtag the offer, and watch when I click it, brings me right there. So you can add as many of these as you like and link to a whole bunch of different ones. Even better is, let's say that there is a section on another website that I want to send them to. I have a different page, it's very long in like 15 different places. I want to send them to section 6 because when they click on this link from page 1, I want them to go to section 12 on page 3, however it works. You can actually do that shortcut as well using the same system. Let me show you that as fast as I can here. So let's say in the About Us, just for example's sake, so this is an entirely different page, we'll do the same thing. I'm going to scroll, 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 scroll. Let's say here, get in touch. Okay, challenge, vacancies, even better. Okay, so this is something for, like, do you want to get a job? So let's, same thing, we'll go to the section, go to the settings of that section, and to this section, we need to add the ID, the CSS ID. In this case, we'll say, let's just call it jobs. So the idea of this is jobs. I will save. I'll hit done. I'll make sure this page is published. Great. So this now has a ID of jobs. Let's go back to our previous page. And to kind of have a full click-through way, let's say we're going to add the hashtag here. So we'll go into our editor. We're going to go to this button here, And when they click this one, we're going to send them to a brand new page, but right down to the bottom where that job banner is. So for the link, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find that page. I think it was About Us. Let's see, let's find that page. There we are. So it's a page called About Us. Now to the end of this page, get rid of that trailing slash, get in our hashtag or the number sign, and then the anchor that you put in this case, jobs. So remember, I went to that other page, scrolled down, and I added the ID of jobs. I came back to this page. Anywhere I want to go to, I can link them to that page / About Us, and then to get them to jump down, I put hashtag jobs or number sign jobs. I hit save, done, and publish. It is publishing. Give it a quick refresh. I'm going to hover, make sure it looks good. All right. So firstly, to start, we come here. We have this really great different color on the words for latest product to call it out. That's interesting. Two levels of text in this button. I'll click on that. It throws me down to the offer of itself, a whole different section on the page. I hit get this offer today. Throws me to a new page and then brings me right down to where I want it to go. So that's it. That's all. It is really that simple. It can seem intimidating, especially when you say something like code, that I'm not a programmer, I don't know what to do. With some very small, simple injections, you can absolutely provide some great experiences and designs on your website. So very simply, quick reminder, all we did was inside of the, let me go back to our other page. Inside of any input inside of your text input inside of your editor, you can add the tag, let's say, left bracket, BR, right bracket. That is called a line break. That will shove that next line of text into a new line. The next bit of text will go to a brand new line. You can do that as much as you like. If you'd like to style a bit of wording, you simply have to add the left span, the left tag of span, put whatever words you want here, around, wrap whatever it is, and then /span. Nothing will come of it. That will do nothing to it. However, what you can do to it then is apply style. So I want to apply some style to those words. I type in style, the word style, within the left span space, and I put style equals, and then quotation marks. Inside of here, you're able to put any CSS property you like. Margin, padding, color, font weight, underlines, anything at all to apply some cool designs and interesting pieces to your website. And then lastly, we talked about anchors. So to any section or item within your website, you can apply a very special ID to it. And that ID you can then link to by applying just hashtag followed by whatever ID it was, or appending the full URL, and then you can have a shortcut from anywhere else onto your website. So we linked to a section here called offer. This on the same page. In this one, we linked to /about us, hashtag jobs, and it brought us all the way down as a great shortcut and experience for our users. So as you can see, it can be a little bit daunting, but with just a little bit of simple code, you'll open up a wide world of possibilities for better experiences and great design for you and your clients as you're building websites in website builders like Divi, Elementor, Beaver Builder, and other systems. Cheers to your great looking websites.